You there?
All right.
Okay, cool. All right, so
Yeah, can you hear me?
basically, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. All right, so on REI homepage, I created a page for this stuff, which is the same stuff I sent you. I think it's, if it's not exactly identical, it's pretty much identical. But that way it's all here in one place. And you also want to be running on this. You want to be running Find Your Flood Zone at least as well, only to give him the most complete information as to whatever property you come up with. And I have not done these in years, but so Atlas so what we have here. So I haven't done FOZs in a while. They don't. A lot of people don't want to bother looking for them. He's right to look for them. So again, FOZs. Every opportunity zone has slightly different rules, but the general rule of thumb with FOZs is that it's a way of hiding capital gains. Sorry, the technical word is deferring capital gains, which means that it's a way of um, sorry, I said a very large wire a couple days ago. I wanted to make sure it caught there. So FOZ allows him to defer, and his investors to defer capital gains they made on other things elsewhere when investing in an FOZ. It has some other ongoing tax breaks. It has some tax breaks related to monies they make on that location. So it's 90% of it's a way of funneling. It's a way of encouraging development into a underserved or blighted or some version of that community. So Pennsylvania has their version of KOZ. FOZ here's and literally it kind of looks something like this. So literally it is it's like okay, so you go to a community and you're able to you go.
Oh, hold on. Hello. Oh, goodness.
Okay. All right. So basically, with this federal opportunity zone map here, I put in a location, and it came up and said these dark areas are opportunity zones. So it's telling you what it's telling you where in a city the government has designated these as being the territories that matter. So if we were to put in, it's very funny that it's not just going with. Because I'm having trouble spelling things right now. And as with every government website, and there's a couple different versions of them, they're not that great. And it's having a lot of difficulty finding the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately, whenever you try to show something, it never works out to be as easy as you'd like it to be.
Yeah.
But so where's literally this morning I was doing this, it was like, oh, look how easy it is. Anyway, this is Philadelphia's KOZ map, or Federal Opportunity Zone map. Now you would know better where Greentown is or whatever, but basically now with this, we're able to look inside of it and figure out what streets that is, or at least what portions of town that is. And this is the reason not a lot of people start from FOZ searches, because there's effort in just getting, okay, where in town am I looking? So you're going to have, okay, so now it's this area, and whether you look at streets or whether you look at, a more general, like, okay, you've now figured out, the city, you've now figured out, okay, I'm looking for stuff over here. I'm then going to, and we have Land OS, we have Batch Leads, and we have Crexy. And I continue my Crexy login because that's one I actually thought I'd canceled, but whatever, I'm kind of trapped on it. Of course, Batch Leads wants to play this game on this, so we go to Batch Leads over here. For some reason on this browser, Batch Leads gives me the please buy me version. On this browser, it works fine. Come on. Oh, it's just going slow. All right. And then we come back to here and we look into my Crexy account. And within Crexy, you could do so there's two sides to Crexy. There's the public side of what's listed, and then there's a way within Crexy to also look at what land is. It's kind of like a Batch Leads version. And basically, they both boil down to a map search. And you could then say, okay, my Opportunity Zone map told me I need to be over here. And then you go over to Crexy and you find whatever the matching over here is, and that's where you look. The reason I have the whole buyer agent conversation is because within Crexy, there'll be stuff like this. And, you might want to him as well. If this matched where you want to be, if it's in the KOZ and blah, 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 if it fits some other criteria, you want to be able to present this to them. So you want some agreements to say, listen, if I present something to you that's not my listing, I'm protected, right? So Crexy, I've been fighting with them to discontinue my plans. They might have already discontinued my plans. So Crexy we have another software called Tracked IQ, does the same thing as Crexy Intelligence. Let's find property within a region, and let's find owners within a region. So once all of this boils down to, once you know where in the city are the opportunity zones, The second we're going to look at before you even get to looking for property is you want to look for a Philadelphia zoning map. Philadelphia Interactive Zoning Map. That's this one.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know this particular website well, so it's a little bit of a I'm leading you to the water, but not necessarily to the drink. So again, you go back to the FOZ section and you say, okay, I want to look at what the zoning is that's here. And you go to the Philadelphia zoning map, and you're going to ask it to show you what the zoning is for different parts of Philadelphia. And this is the part where I do not know this website. I'm not saying here's how to use this website. I'm simply saying this is the website that will get you the information. The other website, when you find an interesting property, the last website you plug an address into is this one, FEMA Flood Map. Flood zone does not mean you don't want to buy there, but it's good to know what kind of flood zone it is. Because this is one of those situations where colors matter. The blue, now he can build, blue is the bad flood zone. It's what's called the A-type flood zone. So all you're doing is you're saying, if you find a property that suits him here, suits his zoning needs, or an area of town, you also find out what its flood zone is. And this is a courtesy to him. You don't have to do this, but this is, hey, you know what? I'm offering you this parcel. Yes, it's in an A flood zone, because he might just be, fuck no, I don't do flood zones. And then you say, but it's only, okay, so I'm selling you this parcel. Let's pretend it's this building. It's in the A flood zone way over here. You could probably fight your way so that doesn't matter because the building's not in the flood zone. I know he's a builder, but whatever. So knowing what flood zone it is helpful information. It does not have to be your primary stop, but it is nice to know. Because things in the A flood zone are going to require flood insurance. All these buildings, if you buy any of them, your lender is going to require you to get flood insurance. You're in the brown. Which one's brown? Yeah, 0.2. You're in the brown, you don't need flood insurance. You're in the stripy one, which I think is protected by levy. Oh, so no, that's a regular. One of these covers, oh yeah, reduce this gray and brown stripy one, which it doesn't look like they have one. That doesn't need flood insurance. So really, all you're doing with this is you're saying, okay, I've determined where FOZ is. Boom. I've looked at the zoning map for Philadelphia, and if you have any trouble with this, I'm going to work on this after we hang up. If you have any trouble, we can do it together. But so if we were to go, and let's take it to the real world, if we were to take it and we were to say, I'm trying to find like a All right, well, I'll just use. I'm trying to find something I can put in there. Well, I'll put Tacony Park into this. So if I were to put Tacony Park, or I were to interactively search, Philadelphia will tell you what the zoning is for that area. And I'm going to have to look into exactly how this thing does it. But Philadelphia will tell you what the zoning map is for that area. So you're doing this. The first thing you're doing, because FOZ is his first thing, is you're saying, hey, here are the FOZs. Then you're using your knowledge of Philadelphia to say, I know what this guy wants to build, and I know if he builds it down here, no one's going to go there because we're going to get shot. He wants to build it over here. This is where he wants to build. You're also using this map because assuming building is what he wants, because you're saying, holy crap, in order to build the scale of what he wants, I'm buying how many properties? That doesn't shade you off. Nothing stops you, but you're basically saying, okay, this is the part of Philadelphia that I think is going to work for it. Overlay that onto the zoning map, and then say, okay, it's this zoning. And then you go and present it to him, it's this zoning. What you've also done, and this is the important part, is once you've done this part and you've targeted, hey, here's the part of Philadelphia that's FOZ. I can target through LandOS, through Crexy, through Tract IQ, or through Bats Leads, the owners in these communities and start marketing. Because these guys have something special, and it literally gets down to this stupid. I'm trying to find, okay, so I'm trying to find one where it literally crosses the street, but yeah, okay, perfect. Whoever owns this one has federal tax benefits. Right across the street, no federal tax benefits. So, probably a better example over here. So this guy here is more interesting to a developer than this guy here, because he has tax benefits and he doesn't. Opposite sides of the same damn street. So this would be a circle. Immediately, as soon as you see this is FOZ, this is a circle. You could say, okay, this is FOZ. And you can also, and okay, now let me start looking for sellers. You can also kind of sort of tell by what buildings are there if they're going to give you a problem changing zoning. And this is why zoning doesn't have to be your first stop. We know what he wants for zoning. But this is why zoning doesn't have to be your first stop. Now, what zoning, and that's why I'm going to turn the screen back on. Okay, I did. What zoning was he asking for?
He was asking for CMX, and then RM1, commercial mixed use and residential multifamily. And he was also asking for ones in Atlanta as well, and they're classified differently over there. It's CR3, I think, and then I don't know. The zoning codes are different.
Oh yeah, and yeah, the zoning codes are always going to be different.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just going to try to search CM. I'm going to try to learn the software with you right now. I'm not going to like try to leave you on your own with it. But basically, I'm just trying to find my
Yeah.
my little okay, and
Yeah, I'm not too sure how to find that. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I know I can find like commercial properties and land. It's just with that specific criteria, I don't know like which one would qualify.
well, and the bottom line, and that's a guy like this is both wonderful and not, because he's almost too precise. But that's why if FOZ is really his and this is why you and I should get on the phone with him so we can kind of filter out what, because like you were suggesting, we can kind of filter out what he exactly what is his priority. Because because like he may care less about FOZ. He may care because zoning is changeable. That's the first thing to understand. If you buy a property, you can appeal to change zoning. You may not choose to, but you can. So every town has something like this. Like literally in Pennsylvania, it's town by town. And you can look up like zoning districts and official zoning map. And this one may not be interactive. Okay, so this is just simply saying there is one. And this is where it's a little so RM1. Slide. Right. So we slide down our residential one, previously known as R8, R9, R10, R11. What they're saying is that's a larger density residential zone. CMX, we could look that up too. And basically this atlas here, and what I'm missing on this atlas, what I'm going to have to do a little more research, because usually these are easier to use, is what I'm missing on this atlas is usually there's an overlay button that says overlay me what the zoning layers are. So I will look into why the zoning layers are not appearing here, because this is their website for zoning. But basically,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of recap, if you found this, Lesher Street. Okay, I have enough small enough streets. So if I put in Lesher Street here, I now go over to. So if you find that Lesher Street is in a opportunity zone, you then come over here and you enter Lesher Street. Okay, so their little search engine is pretty crappy. We need an address on Lesher Street. So, but the idea, and this is where their website is something I'm going to have to learn and sort of send you a little video on. But and this is 5330 Lesher Street. Let's see if it likes that any better. All right, cool. Now we've picked 5330 Lesher Street. Here it is. And now look what it's told us about the property. So what I was looking for, what I still do want to find for you, is how does it overlay the zoning maps, the zoning colors, the zoning codes on the map. There will be something I need to find out. I thought this website was going to be that, but this tells you is zoning. That's what I was looking for. Add the zoning layer.
Mm-hmm.
Now we'll scroll around the city, and we can learn the colors, by the way, too. We can say, okay, RSA 5, CMX2, CMX3. That's reds, variations of reds. So now we're on this map, and we say, okay, and literally you're not overlaying the maps. There's no really way to do that. But you're saying, oh, look, okay, I find myself on, I make sure this matches up with the FOZ. And all of a sudden, I'm able to say, okay, well, now I know this matches both of this criteria. The hedge that I would say to you is, finding opportunity zone areas, and then the question is whether this guy is worth okay, am I going to go and market only to, it's got to be opportunity zone and it's got to be CMX3? It's got to be both for him? Or am I going to say, I'm going to market to opportunity zones and bring him and before I bring it to him, I find out if it's CMX, but this gives me a way. I'm marketing to opportunity zones, which means I'm marketing to something investors are going to like. And I'll be honest, like opportunity zones are good substantially for investors that are already coming in money. One of the reasons he wants an opportunity zone is because when he goes out to his money people, they've made $1 billion on some other investment. If they give him $100 million to invest in this location, that money is protected from capital gains tax. So this, the opportunity zone helps him. Zoning also helps him, but a little bit, my mind, not his, my mind secondarily, because he can always change zoning. You can go and appeal and ask the zoning office and board, hey, I want to change this from CMX to RSA because of this. Or I don't want to change the zoning. I want the right to put, if residential is not allowable in a CMX2, I want the right to put residential building in a CMX2. I want what's called a non-conforming use. So anyway, so basically that's how you do it. Now there's also Keystone there's lots of other opportunity zone styles. This is the federal one we've been spending most of our time on. There's Keystone Opportunity Zone. I just lost all my links here. Sorry. Let me go back to my REI homepage here for a second, and I'll pull it up rather than do it the stupid way. So, I mean, so while I'm pulling this up, do you have any questions?
No, that's it. I still got to learn how to like, still getting the hang of the platforms to search up the the properties and stuff. Um, he said he wanted like 20K per unit for up to 50 units. So I'm trying to see how I'm gonna find something like that.
Yeah, and this is where and this guy's a great opportunity. So don't take what I'm about to say as sort of negative in any way. But this is where you have to you know decide. Like I had a guy years ago, and I kind of missed the boat on this because I didn't want to do the level of research. He wanted me to find empty land or buildings up in my area that had access to absurd amounts of power and water. Basically, he's a data center guy. And I
Hmm.
decided not to pursue that because I said, okay, well, that is a crap load of research. And yes, I could become the data center expert for my region, but I could also go down a hole and this guy doesn't turn out to actually buy shit. So I decided that that
Hmm.
wasn't the time for me. So all I'm saying is this is you might start by saying, hey, listen, I'm gonna target properties in an opportunity zone and then see if they fit his zoning and his other requirements. And if they do, they present to him. If they don't, we market them to other people. Now, within Crexy, you could take the same opportunity zone circles and say, okay, and again, I'm not going to try to like live do this on the Philadelphia map, but you can say, okay, I'm looking for where Route 1 curves through over by whatever this, Harbison Ave. And you go to Crexy, find the same spot. Okay, here's Route 1. I don't know where Harbison Ave comes off, but whatever. And you can say, okay, Crexy, show me stuff. I'm going to pretend this is the right circle. Crexy, show me that. Show me listings and properties for sale in that circle. And now it's going to show you, and this could be, I don't believe at $270,000, this is probably a unit in the building, but that's an ugly ass building. That building could definitely use some improvement. Oh, so this is the whole business. Okay. And Associated Philadelphia Real Estate. So if this was in an FOZ, he could be the redeveloper that comes in, flattens this thing, and makes it bigger.
Hmm.
So that's where Crexy can, and Crexy Intelligence, if I still have access to it. If not, Tract IQ will help you with that, and I'll send you that login.
We could ask him about it because we could probably like negotiate and explain to him that it's not always like in opportunity zones. It could still be in Philadelphia though. That's what I'm trying to maybe see if he can go along with that.
Well, that, but also, you're absolutely right. But what I was saying is that if this is the FOZ,
Hmm.
and you said okay, and what you do is you go into Crexy and you find that and you find the FOZ shape within Philadelphia is basically what I'm saying. So, and I'm trying to get rid of this other selection. I don't do this a lot with Crexy. How come I can't do it? But anyway, so what you're doing is you're putting this circle you draw over the FOZ in Philadelphia. So you're
Hmm.
locating this and you're drawing it on Crexy. You're locating that. Tract IQ is a little more self-storage motivated, but Tract IQ is another tool to do the same thing. To learn about homeowners and property and building owners and property owners. And I can say this password and the same kind of thing. We're going to look at and I'm coming in backwards. I'll send you the training on Tract IQ because the area to do this. But the same idea is you're saying, hey, we're not looking to pull up the self-storage data on this property. We're looking to come in here. And we're looking
yeah,
to
and the zoning. What's the zoning code for that part? I was just saying, we gotta make sure the zoning code allows for him to build on that as well. I forgot about that.
Yep, exactly. And this is why this is where the balance comes in. So like let's pretend this is in the opportunity zone. Let's just skip to pretend. So all Tract IQ is like batch leads. It's another way of finding property. Land OS is another tool that if you don't already have the password, let me know. I'll get it over to you. Because Land OS is another, and Land OS is totally different from these applications. Land OS is not just a search tool; it's actually an AI.
Mm-hmm.
And Land OS, you can say to it, "Find me," and I don't know how many of these layers it can do. I've never pushed it this far. Find me empty land in Philadelphia, in Greentown, Federal Opportunity Zone. Boom. And it will come back with whatever its AI is able to come back with. But yes, so if this property here was in the Opportunity Zone, let's pretend this property here is either Opportunity Zone or it's zoned properly or whatever. So it's in the Opportunity Zone. Now you come over here and you plug it in. And now we're saying, okay, there's lots of RM1s, which is not, he wants RM, I guess RM1s. And there's lots of CMXs. But anything over in this property, I mean, this is kind of, I guess, by luck, but anything over in this area is either the right zoning for him or it could be switched to the zone. So if the building happened to be on this side of the street, I don't think that would be a big stretch for the zoning office to say, yep, we're going to make this RM. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make this CMX. Because listen, we're across the street from CMX. Why won't you let us do that over here? So, may or may not have just found a property for him. But yeah. I mean, so you're doing the federal opportunity zone check, and you can actually, and again, like we can know right now, this property 216 whatever street. We can jump into the FOZ map, and we can say, okay, so this one is not FOZ, but you can say to them, hey, listen, I found a potential property for you. It's in this part of town. It's a conversion of a building or a tear down. It's zoned properly, or it's in the right area for the right zoning, but it's not FOZ. Do you want it? 5 minutes. Hey, dude, listen, if it doesn't fit us FOZ, do you still want me to talk to you about it? If it doesn't fit your zoning, but it could be converted, do you want me to talk to you about it? Or do you purely want that tunnel? Because this property is not, this address is not FOZ, sadly enough. Now, it may not be FOZ, but it might be KOZ. It might be U.S. Treasury opportunity zones. It might be. So when you start digging down the opportunity zone question, there's a lot of. So a guy like him, he's wonderful. He's great.
I'm getting the soup.
He's helping a lot of different cities. But
I'll be right there with the soup.
He also is difficult because he's so clear-minded about what he wants. Okay, so this is actually back to the federal one. But yeah, but if I've been smart enough to open the Keystone one might be exactly right for him. So yeah, so basically now and this is also where you as a licensed agent is you could call other brokers, you could go on the listing service and whatever, and you can put the word out and say, hey, listen, I have a buyer who's looking for these criteria. 50-50 shot, he's already talked to us.
Yeah.
We don't know. And listen, you're talking about a
Mm-hmm.
property, but you know what? Maybe, and talk to other wholesalers. Talk to this, go into meetup groups. Because listen, if you brought him this thing and he bought it for $270, then that's if at 3%, that's almost a $9,000 commission that we'd all be splitting. And obviously, you'd be getting most of it because you're a licensed agent. It's the 80/20 model or whatever. So, like, basically, so like, even if you weren't in control of it as a wholesaler, you're able to feed him something. Yeah. So I mean, and really, it comes down to the practicing with the tools. Now, in your situation of, gee, I need deal volume. This is why I keep bringing up this consideration. This guy's wonderful. And even if you bring him to us and somebody else handles him, that's not a horrible choice either, because you still get something out of it. The question is, hey, listen, a guy like this is going to take a lot of research to find what he wants. Is going to take you off the volume of calls you need to be making. So, because it's going to take time, you can only do one thing at a time. But here's what I think maybe hearing from you is, if you like commercial better, then targeting owners in this circle is not a bad idea. And targeting commercial owners is not a bad idea. And you could go into Batch Lead's search tool, and do the
Yeah, I gotta check out the Land OS.
Yeah.
Land OS would be good if I'm talking to developers, because that's where they
Yep.
look for. So
So do you already have the Land OS login, or do you need me to send it to you?
you gotta send it to me.
Okay. All right. So I will dig it up this afternoon and I'll send it down to you. And that one has its own training. I think Eric does the training twice a week. Or no, I think he does it every other Tuesday. But it's pretty self-explanatory once you get in there, and I can give you a little training on that. So let me get you that Land OS login password. And that's a super powerful tool. And this is really what my job is. My job is to bring all the tools into one place. In fact, if I'd known this was coming, I probably wouldn't have canceled Crexy, but I wasn't using it. Nobody else was doing commercials, so whatever. Crexy front end, by the way, is free. Crexy back end, which I was trying to get suspended, and it looks like they finally might have done, that's $300. So there's all of our other tools, we shouldn't need Crexy, because you use the front end of Crexy, not the back end of Crexy. Tracked IQ, I already pay for it. It's there. You can use Tracked IQ to search out commercial owners. And the beautiful thing of Tracked IQ is, just like the reason I dropped Crexy was because I found Tracked IQ. Just like Batch Leads, it will give you, you'll give it a territory, and it'll give you a list of owners in that area, which it's mostly focused on self-storage, but I think it gives you other owners as well. So this is a way of getting owners' phone numbers. It's all about converting owner phone numbers, or it's all about converting properties to phone numbers and being able to call them. Now, one last, and this is a sophisticated guy, so I'm sure he has this down. But one last thing we are going to advise any commercial investor to do is an environmental survey before they buy the property. And he's obviously not new to this world. This is a perfect example. This ugly ass industrial building has probably been some nasty things over its lifetime. So before someone buys this, we want to advise them to get an environmental survey, which is, some of them are paper, some of them actually involve drilling holes in the ground. It's to make sure that there's not a poison here that's making a cancer cluster, or could be, whatever. So don't do that now. That is after it's under contract, during due diligence, while research is being done. It's one of the researches we suggest people do. But I mean, listen, again, so just to recap, I'll get you the Land OS tool. You have these other tools. They're all right here on wherever REI homepage just went. I keep closing my own windows on myself. Under resources, FOZ QOZ. I'll get you Land OS. And the next time, if you want to set up a conference call with him or whatever, or something, happy to do that. between you, me, and him, or if you want to just do it yourself, that's fine. One of the things to have a chit chat with him about is, hey, listen, does it have to meet all your criteria? Is it must be federal opportunity zone and it must be zoned right? Or is it kind of we love it to be everything, but bring me whatever you find that meets one of those criteria? Just so you know for him, how deep do you have to layer it?
Mm-hmm. He said he wants to talk Monday. That's a better time for him.
Okay, that's totally cool. Yeah, we can definitely do that. And Atlanta, I actually have some boots. They're not Atlanta, they're Savannah, Georgia, but I have some boots and some knowledge base down there. And I also have a lot of commercial brokers all over the country because I'm on the self-storage side of things. So, again, this wouldn't make you'd be the buyer's agent. You wouldn't be the wholesaler listing agent. But in terms of if we can serve him something that's easy, that's great. You're absolutely right. We want to be in control of the seller side and the buyer side. We want to be in that position. But, if he's buying $1 million property and we're getting 2% of it, that's 20 grand. So there's even if we're just a buyer's agent. Now you also, when you look at listings, unless the agent's okay, so if the agent is on here, he's probably not an idiot. If it would say, and there it is, perfect, opportunity zone. A listing site like this, agents on this site they're professional commercial guys. They're going to tell you if it's opportunity zone, which this property may not work for you. So I'm mentioning it A when you're talking to other agents, but B, if you have a property at 2400 Orthodox Street, Philadelphia, and you want to verify that that's in the opportunity zone, well, 2511 is. So 2400 probably is. You can also put in, over here. So all I'm saying is that's the other reason where a site like Crexy will help you sort of do your research. Also, a listing site like this will probably have zoning on it. Yep, there it is. ICMX. And in these, what I'll call larger, the last thing I'll share is in these larger zonings. If you're at R1, if you're, not necessarily I don't know if Philadelphia's letters up here. R1 means single family. R2 means doubles. If you're in the bigger numbers of the R's, switching zoning is very easy. Mm-hmm. If you're in a bunch of single family, normal 80s houses, it's going to be a little hard. The neighbors aren't going to love a 40-unit building going into their neighborhood because it's going to be traffic, it's going to be parking, it's going to be noise. But if you're in one of these multi-zones, pretty much most of Philadelphia, I don't think he'd have a problem if he needed to switch zoning or get a specialized use variance or whatever, non-conforming use. So the zoning, you want to give him the zoning he wants, but he may be open to switching zoning up. And that's a fight. That's a 60 to 90 day fight. But, I guess what I'm saying is zoning, nothing in my mind throws this out unless he throws it out. And if we have the seller and he doesn't want it, we find another buyer.
Mm-hmm.
My two lending guys are both down in Philadelphia, and I could call them up and be like, "Hey guys, we have this under contract. Do you know anybody?" And they probably do. If it's worth anything, they probably do. So, all right, so I'll get you Lando S. You set up a time for Monday. I'll send you my availabilities, and then I guess we'll go from there. And you have all the resources here.
Ahead, how about the lending thing for the? How about the lending thing you that I talked to you about?
Oh, that's right.
I spoke to another developer. She said she said she's full in acquisition.
So tell me the story about that, because there were a couple of people mentioned in the text message, and I couldn't quite follow. I know there's lending. I just don't know exactly what.
Yeah, I have a list of developers, and she's the second one that got in touch with me. And she said she's full in acquisitions, but her partner might be interested in lending. Not sure, but we can get in touch.
So let's set up a conversation with that person, because I want you to hear these conversations so you kind of know more about it. But basically, we offer, and I'm having the website built. We can do lending. Okay, so we have a few different lend. So I talk a lot about Joe Scarice, and he's one of a few lending guys that we can make money off of. Joe focuses on primarily residential with a little bit of commercial mixed in. So if you're building a strip mall, you're building self-storage, Joe ain't your guy. You're building things that are 51% or more residential, Joe is one of the several guys I have. We can do ground up construction lending. We can do rental lending, bridge loan lending. So we can pretty much find them what they want. Here's the trick. We tell them, hey, go call Brandon Brown at Keystone Bank or whatever, a real bank, a regular normal bank, credit union, one of those normal enterprises that normal people go to. We can't get paid on that because we're not licensed lenders. Therefore, we can become them, but we're not a licensed mortgage broker, so we can't get paid on that traditional money. We can get paid on Joe's money because it's direct from a hedge fund. We can get paid on other investor broker money that I have connections to because it's non-bank regulated. It's non-qualified, not as regulated. So the next step with them is we collect their information, we chat, we put that in the system. It's the what the hell, where is it? No. In investor lending and DSCR, and I'm going to add a third form here for just possible future lending clients, and we'll just put people like this here until we figure out what they want. And we're going to and we'll set up a chat with them. We'll talk with that person. Be like, hey, listen, this is the kind of stuff we do. We are direct to a couple of hedge funds. We work with brokers of other ones. You know, we have a little bit of tiny, like couple $100,000 money of our own, which is probably too small for them to care about. But we have a couple $100,000 we can play with on that. And primarily we fall down to, so unsecured zero is it's a business loan based on personal credit, no real estate needed. If you've got a business and you've got a 6-something credit score and you need money and your business looks like it makes enough to afford it, these guys will get you a loan. It'll be like a 0 interest credit card or something similar. All of your loans involving dirt are this form. Basically, that's what all of your loans involving dirt around is this one. Asset based is what it's called. And this is where you can put them. We don't send them off until they come to us with an actual property, but this is where they get stored. And remember, all these forms start off with your name. So we know, hey, every time this person calls us, you get your portion of the money. And here's the way most of these lending companies work. Is we could just fill out the form and send it off to the lending company and wash our hands, and a couple months later 1% comes back. But the problem is the second, third, and fourth time they go to that lending company, we don't get paid. So we want to stay a little more visible so that when they need their next loan, they call you. Or at least they call me, because I already have you in the system as being their lead. Because, I mean, we get their first loan, that's great, but when they do the next 12 loans, we want to get paid too. But basically, where you're going to dump their information is under, on the get deal funded, asset based. And I'm having the web designer make this a little more, usefully pretty, but it's there. And then it's also under lending. It's also under here as well. So you can also, and these go direct to the form. This is for you. This is kind of for them. This is for you to say, hey, I got somebody who wants to do lending. Let's do it. Unsecured with this company is easy. They fill out the form. It goes directly to the unsecured company. We never hear about it. So as long as they fill this form out again, we get paid again. But so direct to the forms are right here. And then the information is here. So we can get paid on anything other than If you refer them to Wells Fargo, you refer them, or they go to any normal bank, we don't get paid. It's just what it is. We want them to go through us for their lending, and we can provide them almost any kind of lending they want. They want self-storage lending, they want whatever they want. We can be a resource for them. The beautiful thing on lending is it's very easy to sell money because everybody wants money. You say, I offer lending, I offer investor lending, and you will be buried with people filling out the form. It's the distance from there to them. So what happens from there, because I've done this a bunch of times myself, is they fill out the form, we clean it up, make sure we have all our information, we ship it off to the company. Company comes back with a term sheet and says, this is the offer we're making this guy. We're making an offer of this number, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy either takes the offer or doesn't. He moves forward or he doesn't. And he either gets approved or he doesn't. When he gets funded, we get paid. So long way of saying, you can plug your information in here. And yeah, if they're with a big developer, let's have a conversation with them. It's worth it. And if there was ever a reason that a few of them wanted to get together, I'll come down to Philly and just kind of spend an afternoon. I'll meet with you, meet with them, whatever. Or we do some sort of a coffee lunch or something. We have a beautiful rooftop room that we could borrow Joe's rooftop community room in his office. It's beautiful, it overlooks the city, whatever. So if we had a reason we wanted to really impress somebody, I could talk to Joe about doing that.
Okay.
So we got lending, and these are nationwide things we can do. Your license is Pennsylvania only. Your license is convenience to be able to do things in Pennsylvania. Everything nationally we can still do. The beauty is if we run into a state where we can't do it because you have to be licensed for whatever that activity is, well, we're licensed. That brokerage, we team up with a broker. That broker pays this brokerage, I pay you. So we can work, Atlanta, Texas, Oklahoma. I don't give a crap. It doesn't matter. Lending, it totally doesn't matter because we're not even the ones doing it. All we are in lending is like the assistant.
Yeah.
So, all right, yeah. So, so basically, we can definitely take that on board. And if she knows who we need to reach out to now, do you want to be involved in that call with her, or do you just want me to call her?
Well, I just want you to call her.
Okay, all right. I'll go ahead and give her a call and get her lined up then.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks, man. Any other questions? Anything else I can direct you with? Hello? You gone? Maybe you're gone? Seems like you're gone. I guess you're gone. I don't know. That's weird. I guess you're gone. Maybe you're gone. You're gone. Okay. He's done. Okay.